maybe I should have waited to film this video, but I was really excited. I wanted to tell you guys, I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to upload tomorrow. But I wanted to tell you I went to genetic counseling today. And I am so relieved to finally know what is wrong with me. She did the test on me. We didn't have blood taken at all yet. Raphael's going to get tested for like deletions in chromosomes, you know, anything that could cause autism. So he's going to get tested for deletions in chromosomes. He's going to get tested for certain genes. And all of this stuff is, like, the bulk of it is, like, the deletions, 10% of the deletions can cause autism, right? Like, 10% of the people who have autism are caused by deletions. She said that's a minority. But it's an option that they offer, and it's free under our insurance because we have universal health care here. So we don't have to pay for that. However, if they don't find it with these certain genes, and like you get a certain amount of, like a certain number of genes that you can test for under your insurance for free, and then you have to pay for it. So hopefully, you know, he already has autism. It's not going to change anything. This isn't going to cure him. There's no cure for autism. But it'll let him know for his future that he has these genes, and he can keep that information for him. Now, with Abigail, it's a little more complicated. We're going to test me before we test Abigail for anything. However, if I come back that I have certain genes, we're going to get Abigail tested. Abigail is on the fence for having two things right now that we don't know. She is, let me just tell you what disorder I definitely have. I took a score test for the Brighton score or whatever. It's to check my flexibility. Like, you can see that my fingers are flexible. Well, also, how can I do this? I made a video about this before, but let me just show you. Well, this is a really bad angle. She said to do that. So that's hyper flexible. To do that. So I can touch my thumb to my arm. My fingers are not affected as much, and I told her, like, they hardly ever go out. I mean, I can crack them, and I've done really, like, party tricks, but there's nothing special going on with my fingers. My joints dislocate all the time. When we were in America, for instance, my knee went out and my hip went out while we were in America. It really sucked. Hadar slammed on the brakes and my leg kept going, but my butt was firmly planted on the seat. So I don't know how that happened, but my hip popped out of joint while I was in America, and both of those things took 6 to 8 months to correct themselves. So I was out. I have been out in my arm, my rotator cuff, since I lived in Eilat, which has been, I called it vlogger arm because I didn't know. That has been 5 years ago. So my arm has been out. It's been, I guess, what it's called is subluxated, where it's not out of joint. I can use my arm, but it's not sitting properly in the joint. And actually, I would love to go to a chiropractor. I've been telling Hadar, please take me to the chiropractor. But I have lordosis, which is a sway back, and with my pregnancies I get SPD, which is, it's caused by having too much relaxin, and your body, your pelvis goes not only separates, but it moves. so it makes walking extremely painful. I have POTS, which is when you stand up. For me, it's not when I stand up. I rarely stand up quickly and get like a head rush because I just know not to do that. So, and I'm fat. So I never do anything really quickly. But what happens to me is, like, if I'm waiting in line, you'll always see me either rocking side to side to keep my blood flowing, I guess, because I always thought that maybe my blood was going into my fat legs and staying there and draining my head, which made me sick. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's what I thought because I have really big legs. So what it is for me, like if I take too long of a shower and I'm standing still and I'm, shower, I have had to run out of the shower and lay down soaking wet before, because if I didn't lay down, I was going to be extremely sick. And what it is like you get lightheaded, you get like nauseous. I can't really describe. It's like it's a really bad feeling, and it's also a panicky feeling. I can't explain it, but it's not good. It feels very bad. It feels like you're sick. And then when I lay down for like 10 to 30 minutes, it goes away completely and I'm fine. But once I hit that point, if I don't lay down, it only continues to get worse. I have to lay down. That's the only way. Did you poop?
Yeah.
You did? Because I put you to bed? I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So, just to let you know, I didn't think I was like that bad. I've not been formally diagnosed with it. I have to go to my doctor to do that. She said, yes, it's obviously you have it. From the Brighton score, she was like, you meet the criteria 100%. And I was like, she checked my skin and everything. And I didn't think my skin was affected, but she grabbed certain parts of my skin and it was super elasticy. And then she's like, yeah, this is, like, she was measuring everything. Which, by the way, I had to stand in my bra and underwear. So I didn't know that was going to happen. Thank goodness that I wore clean underwear. No, but I didn't know that was going to happen today. So she did that. She measured everything. She looked at my joints. She was confused by my knees because my knees bend really super bad, hyper extend. Somebody said something about me, how I point my fingers. They're like, oh, my daughter has EDS and she does the same thing. Just a lot of comments. Beverly from here. Thank you, Beverly. She is the first person who told me about EDS. And I was like, I took Zeb to therapy with a boy who had EDS. And I was like, oh yeah, I talked to his mom. I was like, oh yeah, my joints, they do that too, but nothing as bad as your son. You know what I mean? But it is. Mommy, it is. Yeah. That's for you. It's a cracker. So, anyway, I wanted to say, like, there's no cure for it. And I've learned to live with it. I'm careful. I'm a little bit guarded about my body and my joints and how I move. And if I'm in pain, I sit down, I wait for it to go away. It usually goes away and then I can keep going. You know what I mean? When I say I feel like my back is breaking, that's the truth. That's how I feel. But other than that, my shoulder hurts. Nothing hurts 100% all the time except for my back and my shoulder right now. So I think I'm doing pretty good. There's nothing that can be gained from this, but the fact that you both need to go to sleep, but the fact that we know now. Change of scenery. So when I found out, blah, blah, blah. I'm so excited about this. You want to know why? Nothing can be gained except that I know that I am not crazy. And I know that when I say something, that I'm not imagining it. When I say, oh, it feels like it is, because it is. So I think for me, it's really good news. And for them to know, so they know, because it can cause other things. So it's good to know. It's also good to know, I put a wind muff on the camera, and it's bothering me. It looks like a little furry rat right in my vision. Anyway, so I know. Just so I know, and that's what I wanted to know. Anyway, it's just so good to know. It's just so good to know that I'm not crazy. And thank you, Bev, for telling me about that, Beverly. Because had you not told me and told me everything, like this was 2 years ago or something, and it's taken this long, because the doctors don't know what this is. Even when you tell them in Hebrew, even when you show them the Wikipedia page, you're like, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to test for it. And they just wrote me off for this entire time. And when I went to the genetic center, I was like, oh, by the way, I think I might have EDS. And she says, oh. You know, like she cared. Oh, do you? Well, what are your symptoms? And I showed her what my symptoms were, and I told her. And she was like, oh, well. So she wrote me a file. Like, what? What's happening right now? Somebody took care of me? Somebody cared? Somebody wanted to find out what's been, like, wrong with me my whole life? So thank God. Thank God. Because here's the thing. It's like one of those invisible illnesses that people have that make you feel terrible. Like in my 20s, I was like, I think I was 18 years old when I told this guy, I said, you know, there is not 1 minute of the day that I go without pain. And you live with it. Some days are like not bearable and you complain. And I think it's anybody's right who is in pain all the time to complain. I think it's good to complain sometimes. But for the most part, people who live with pain, they just live with it. And some days are better than others. And, you know, I've never taken pain medicine because I didn't want to get hooked on it. Because when I was on steroids, man, did I feel good. Because I had no pain. And then when I got off of the steroids, you know, because I was on them for my breathing. I wasn't on it for my condition. When I got off of the steroids, the pain came back, and so did the depression. Like, I was really depressed. And that's why I never wanted to take pain medicine. Anytime that I'm in pain, like, it takes me a long time to even take aspirin, like Tylenol, when I have a headache, because I don't want to get addicted to it. You know what I mean? But literally, yeah. There are 2 other things that I would like to figure out what, like maybe if EDS is the cause of this. I have phantom smells, which means that I smell things randomly that are not real. It's really nasty things too, like dead bodies and cigarette smoke and like burnt tar, things like that. I will smell, and it's not real. Bleach that'll choke me, and nobody else can smell it. It's like phantom smells. I've been tested thoroughly for it, like for seizure disorder, because, yeah, and for a brain tumor, and I have neither. So nobody knows what it is. I'd like to find out what that is. And sometimes I have like a speech thing where I can see the word in my head, but I can't for the life of me say it. So it's like a brain mouth thing. And nobody knows what that is either, but it doesn't happen all the time. You can tell when it's happening. I'll say the same word. I never do it on the vlog, but I'll say the same word 5 times. And instead of saying like, okay, there's a knife over there. Instead of saying knife, I'll say Jupiter. Jupiter. Jupiter, you know what I mean? And I literally can't say the word knife. And it just happens randomly and then it goes away. And then I'm fine. So that has been happening. Those two symptoms have been happening for probably the last 15 to 20 years. I don't know, 15, maybe 13 to 20. I really don't know. A very long time. Too long. I think Zeb may have been a couple years old, so I'm not sure. But yeah, those two things would be like the last two things that I would need to figure out what the heck. She asked me about muscle cramps, which I said yes, indeed. And they have just gotten worse and worse and worse. So that apparently is also part of EDS. So when she said that, I almost cried. Because everybody blames my fat for all of my problems. And they're not listening to me. You know what I mean? So when she said that, I was like, oh my God.
Hey, Mommy.
I was like, that is caused from this?
Mommy.
She said, yeah. So I said, yeah. And I was telling her everywhere that I cramped.
Hey,
and
Mommy.
like my ability to cramp is very, very easy. So I was like, the blood felt like it rushed out of my head when she said that. Because I was like, okay. And it's not curable, but I'm happy to know that it is real, and I'm not lying about it, or I'm not, my body, my brain is not making it up. It's actually happening. So it was a good day today, except for the kids were absolutely terrors. Absolute terrors today. It was a 2-hour-long appointment. So it was extremely hard on me. But so that was my update. I'm getting toys here. Okay. All right. Let's go to bed now. I have to quit talking because I think I'm waking them up. So I'm going to go work. So if any of you have EDS, I know quite a few people now that have it. After I talked to Beverly, like, people were like, oh, is yours, you have this? Do you have EDS? You know what I mean? So I don't think it's as rare as, like, I think more people know about it. So it's good. So if you have EDS and you want to share anything that's helpful for you, yeah, let me know. I'd love to do things the easy way. And if you have an easier way, let me know. All right. Thank you guys. And I will talk to you later. This girl.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, say thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check out last week's video and my other channels. Fully Living, Fully Cooked, and Fully Fun. Have a great day.